Welcome back to Where Baggies Walk. It's fair to say Swansea fans are forgiven West Brom now for all the stuff that went on with Luke Williams because you relegated Cardiff. And as these ones say, we've always loved you lot. Thank you very, very much. Welcome back, Aaron, Ben, Dean, and of course, Dan. And thank you very much for watching. We're nearly there. This season is nearly finally over. And we can get back to some sort of normality. On this week's episode, we are looking at the betting odds for the next West Brom manager and getting these guys to run the rule over all the runners. Plus, we're looking back briefly at that Cardiff game and looking ahead as whether West Brom can also relegate Luton this Saturday lunchtime. Let's jump straight back into it. Ben, brief word on the Cardiff game. Anything positive coming out of that?
Same as usual, really. Just a game of nothingness, really. Limp going forward. Poor at the back. Keeper kept us in it.
Yeah, I mean, this was the main takeaway, I think, from it was that number one for foreseeable future. Says Ed. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I think if you're playing bottom of the league and your goalkeeper's man of the match, you're struggling, really, aren't you? He has been the only positive the last sort of 2 or 3 games, I suppose. But it's we're clutching at straws a bit. But yeah, I mean, he needs to play next season, and hopefully a full pre-season will only see him improve. So if you're looking at a positive, he's probably the one. Yeah.
I'm still seeing lots of fan anger, Aaron, on social media following that one. I mean, this was just an example. Rio says, nothing short of embarrassment. Against the bottom 7 this season, we've picked up 18 points out of 42. That's what has us without playoffs and promotion. Also doesn't help that we haven't won 1 away game since November. Shambolic. You don't deserve our support, says Eli Rec. Where are the fan base, you think, now? Is this the lowest that it's been for a long while, the relationship between the club and the fan base?
One of the lowest points, I'd imagine. It's just there's so much disarray between the players and the fans at the moment. I mean, the players look like they're already on the beach, booking the flights to Mykonos and wherever else it would be. You've seen that from a lot of performances. I've seen a fair few clips of, I mentioned his name last week, Bartley, but again, the difference between Hegem and Bartley in this one clip was astronomical. One player's desire is, outstanding, and the Bartley's lack of desire and lack of fight to win the ball and keep the ball out the net was just laughable, really. But I think it's not just him. There's a lot of players in that squad at the moment who are just below par, and it's been happening for a fair few weeks now, and I think the fans are fed up of it, which is rightly so. And I think we need a massive clear out and a massive change needs to happen in this summer.
Cheers for that, Aaron. Dean, we've missed you for a couple of weeks because you've been at the season awards a couple of weeks ago and then away last week. What's your take on what you've been watching over the last recent months? Has this been as bad as you can remember for some while?
Yeah, I think the distance isn't with the club as such, it's the players at the moment, it's the team. The club, we're actually on the right lines, I think, with the new ownership. But the players, the likes of Bartley, what Tony's just mentioned, and Furlong, Mowat, the list is endless, to be honest. And these are the players still under contract. But they've been on the beach for a couple of weeks now. And there's no excuse at all. They were important games and they're just down tools and didn't want to know. They got a bit of abuse at the end on Saturday, in fairness.
Yeah, rightfully so as well. Dan Adams says, sack them all. That was a disgrace. That last 20 minutes was awful. Absolutely no urgency. Morrison didn't cover himself in any glory either. Grant, Mowat, Bartley, Styles, Furlong and Armstrong all need to leave. And I want to get your view on this last point here. There's a real attitude problem with those players I just mentioned. Do you see that?
Yeah, definitely. Especially along the lines of like Furlong and Bartley. They've been there for quite a few years now, and I saw on another Albion podcast where he describes it as it was like a supply teacher coming in and the kids were just messing about, and you can sort of see where he's coming from with that the past couple of weeks, where there's just been no effort whatsoever. Like the clip that Aaron was on about was where it was like the last 10, 20 minutes or something. Hegum is literally throwing his body everywhere, putting his body on the line, and Bartley's just walking about, ball watching. It's the same with Furlong as well. And then there was also like rumours going on that before Mowbray got sacked, Furlong was arguing with the assistant Mark Venus. So I think the attitude of some players is pretty bad, to be honest, especially like the ones that have been there for some time. And with that tweet, I agree with them players going. Apart from Styles, actually, because he's actually done all right. He's done a job. He actually does put a bit of effort in, but I don't know whether he's fell in with the wrong crowd with Bartley and Furlong. But time will tell, I suppose.
Okay. Ben, there's a number of clubs that have been asking me to talk to you about making sure you do them a favour on Saturday. But what I'm hearing, so Watford want you obviously to massively win. Stoke need a favour from you, as do Derby, as do Preston, and as do Hull. For what I'm hearing, do you fear that actually this Saturday against Luton that you're not the favourites going into this, even though you're at home?
Probably not, to be honest. No, I mean, Luton picked up a good result last weekend at night, so they'll have a bit of confidence going into it. They'll be up for it. You know, they don't want to be going down, so they're going to be much up for it than we are. You know, I mean, the last few games, as we've said, we've just completely down tools. There's a lot of players who are playing who aren't going to be here next year. So, you know, the attitude, everything that's, you know, been going on the last few weeks, I think we're going to see more of the same on Saturday. You know, the atmosphere is going to be pretty poor. No one's going to stay for the lap of appreciation, I don't think. It's just going to peter out into a season of just nothing, really. So I'd have Luton as favourites, yeah.
I mean, imagine, Dean, you'll be there for the lap of appreciation, won't you? You'll be still applauding them, or is it even testing you to your limits? This
No, not a chance.
You'll be in the pub at half time.
You'll be in the Vine, will you? By 3 o'clock.
Portsmouth is my public choice, to be honest, but
Okay.
rather than the Vine. But
It's a great away.
they don't deserve it. There's only probably 3 or 4 of them. Griffiths, Egham, Stars. I'm struggling after that, to be honest. That could all go for me.
All right. Well, we started this podcast this year positively, so we're definitely not going to end it on this note. Let's look forward to the future. Let's look at the betting odds, shall we, for the next manager of West Brom. I'd like to play a little game, if that's okay. I'm going to put up the list, the top. What have we got? The top 5, and then I'm going to ask each one to get rid of one, and we'll see who's left at the end. If that's all right. So, Aaron, you can kick us off. Here's the top 5. We've got Marty Cifuentes, who's come in the last 24 hours, 40 hours as the favourite, because there's rumours that his association have had conversations with West Brom. We've got Ryan Mason in there, Gary O'Neill, Liam Rossini, and my old mate Sean Dyche is up there as well. So of those, Aaron, who would you like to chop as not that you wouldn't want to see at your gaff?
Gary O'Neill. Simple as that. It goes without saying, I think.
Yeah. I'm surprised he's even on the list, but there we go. Right, we got rid of him then. Dan, who else do you get rid of?
Sean Dyche. He's a dinosaur of football. We've had enough of him over the years.
Yeah, fair enough. I reckon he'd take you up. It won't be pretty, but he'd take you up. That leaves us with 3 then, Ben.
I'll go to Ryan Mason because he's unproven, hasn't really had a job, has he? So I wouldn't really fancy him, to be honest.
Okay. Dean, that leaves you then with the casting one on Liam Rossini or Marty Cifuentes.
Much as I wouldn't have minded Rossini, he's just signed a new 2 or 3 year contract with Strasbourg, so he's not coming today, I think, or yesterday. So when he leaves one, I don't know much about him, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, he's been good. He saved QPR from relegation last season. Was very, very good in the Spanish league. Here's some outsiders though. I mean, yeah, I'm done if you appoint Steven Gerrard. I've got to be honest with you, as mentioned before. Luke Williams, he's on TV this week. Stuck his. It's weird how suddenly the job's come up. We've heard him coming up again. Rob Edwards is around. Aaron, Nathan Jones, and then Will Still, who I think we've mentioned on here before. Any on there, Aaron, which get you excited?
I mean, Will Still, I think he's above us. In all honesty, I think. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say the French league is above the Championship, but I think he and the way he's coached teams. I think you can see him going to one of if Leicester, if they sack Van Nistelrooy, or Southampton or some team like that. I feel like they'll have the upper hand over us. And then Rob Edwards as well. I feel like obviously he got Luton to the Premier League, and with this squad they had, it wasn't the greatest. So I could imagine he'd do a half decent job with us. I mean, obviously he had that poor season last year, and obviously until he got sacked from Luton, this season as well. But I feel like he would need a fresh start, and I feel like a team like Albion could give him, what he needs to play some decent football.
Yeah. Any other names that any of you have heard of that you also want to consider throwing in the mix?
I just had the Plymouth manager, maybe. I quite like the look of him. I think his points per game has been pretty good since he's been there. Yeah. I know they're heading down likely, but I think he's been okay. They beat Liverpool in a cup. He seems like he can get a team going. So maybe an outsider. I don't know.
Yeah,
you mentioned Dave Challoner, Stockport.
Yeah.
He's talking about 6 divisions about since he's been there.
Yes. Brill. When do you expect? I mean, we asked this kind of last week, but when do you expect to have a decision made for Dan? Given that obviously you've got a lot of players, things to sort out. You've got pre-season that should. We'll presume the club will be arranging. But when's put a time frame on when you would want to hear from the club on this?
Anytime really. I mean, I'll just get his last game out of the way with Morrison in charge, and then just leave it a couple of weeks, I think, and then I think probably like a couple of weeks before the players come back for pre-season. Just before then, I think, just to sort of get himself settled in and have meetings with the players and that, just to sort of, I don't know, maybe like set ground rules, maybe install a bit of. What's the word?
Discipline.
Yeah, that's the one. Bit of discipline, like what Carlos did, and then hopefully we can start from there.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, I know it's a nothing game for you, but I mean, is it really? Because if you lose, I mean, it's going to go a bit toxic, I'd imagine, given what happened against Derby in the last time out as well. Is 3 points quite important, given that you still got season tickets to sell? Everyone wants to leave on a relatively feel good, happy note before the summer.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to win games. Obviously, that's what your sports team for, to win games. So you obviously want to get the 3 points. But I said it before the Cardiff game. When now the pressure's off, I think I'd have been annoyed if we won the last 2 games, because it shows we can win games and we don't need to. And when the pressure was there before, we bottled it. For us to turn around and get 6 points from the last 2, would have been a bit of a kick in the teeth. Would have kind of said, we can play when we feel like it. But like I say, you want to win the games. You want to get 3 points. There's still players who you need to kind of prove their worth. So hopefully that's the mindset going into it. Whether it transpires like that, we'll see.
Okay, cool. Right, well, the playoff race will be done and dusted by then as well. Aaron, who do you want to get that last spot now that you're not going to get it?
It'd be nice to see Millwall, actually. I feel like they haven't been there ever, I don't think, if I'm honest. So it'd be nice for a team like Millwall to potentially go up. I mean, that would be a stir for the Premier League, and I don't think the Premier League would react well to that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they'd come down at about 6 points, but still, I feel like it'd be something different for the Premier League to see.
Yeah, bro. Okay. Right, a couple of questions then to finish off with. We'll ask you in a minute what your favourite home game has been this season. I know that's difficult given what's been going on recently, but we've got to look back. Before we get there, things that need to be sorted out in this summer. Obviously, we've talked about the manager needs to be appointed first. Safe standing, Dean. You announced a couple of weeks ago that's happening at the stadium. Yeah, for August. Yeah. What else? Anything else, Ben, that you would want to see happen?
Obviously, just the mindset of the players. I think people are saying all the players need to be sacked. That's not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of players here next season or here this season. That kind of culture and that spirit, that's what needs to change to get us kind of where we want to be. I think that mindset, and that comes from whoever comes in to be the next manager. So that's the main thing I'll be looking at changing.
Dean.
Yeah, somebody good, strong manager to come in, sort out the dressing room. And we need a leader out there on the pitch as well. We haven't got one. And I think Bartley and Furlong maybe carry too much responsibility in that dressing room. I think rule the roost a little bit. It's really bad on the other players. And I'd like a nice pre-season friendly abroad somewhere.
They're be too greedy now. Dan, anything they've missed?
I think this might go for a lot of clubs in the Championship. Bring back the paper tickets. It's just like a bit of like memorabilia sort of thing instead of all this scanning now on your phone and using an app. Just bring back the paper tickets. It's so much easier to buy and sell off other people.
All right, Brill. Finally, also the new kits will be out. I know this is the last thing on your mind, but I thought I'd have a little bit of fun. So, Aaron, in terms of the away kit, what would you like to see this year? Are we time for yellow and green again? Or?
I think if we're going to have 3 kits again, I think one of them is going to be yellow and green. I mean, where it is, it needs to be far better than that yellow and blue one from wherever that was this season. That's one of the worst kits I've ever actually seen now been playing.
It looked like a bus seat, didn't he?
Yeah, it looks like Oxford United. It's just yeah. We played a lot in the season, to be fair, if I'm honest, so it probably goes well. But if I'm honest, I'd like to see an all black kit. I don't think we had one for a good 10 plus years now. So I'd like to see something a bit you can wear. You know what I mean? Not just something to wear to games, but wear anywhere. Something that's nice for the brand.
Okay, Dean.
Get rid of the pink, that's for sure. I like a lot of bloody Nancy boys when we wear that. As well as looking like them. I'm a traditionalist, so I'd bring the yellow and green back.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah, I agree. Yellow and green, definitely. That's kind of how embedded in us our away kits, where we're half decent, so that we're off.
Done.
It's not yellow and red.
Oh no, that was awful.
The McDonald's one.
Ronald McDonald. Yeah, bring back the green and yellow. I was actually going to wear that tonight, but then I found it in a box and it was all creased up. So I was like, oh no, best not. Don't want to get rinsed for that.
Brill. Right, last one then. What has been your favourite home game this season? We did what's your favourite away trip last week? In fact, Dean, we didn't ask you because you were here. What's been your favourite away trip? Given that you've nearly done all of them, have you done all of them?
No, I've missed 2 or 3.
Okay.
Should have been a while. I missed them.
Yeah. I don't mean the results. I mean, okay, right.
Yeah, Portsmouth for the result and
the experience, yeah,
and a good night out, yeah.
Bill, okay. Right, home game then. Ben, kick this off. What's been the one that sticks in your mind?
I say the Portsmouth. We won 5-1. It was kind of one of Moby's first games. We all thought, we were back in 2007 again. We were playing this free-flowing football. Thought that was it. We were going to get in the playoffs. One good game, and then it all kind of went downhill. So that was kind of the game where we thought, we've got a good team here, we've got some good players, we scored a few good goals, and we looked actually like a decent footballing side. We only saw that for 90 minutes, but we had it. So probably that one.
Fair enough. Dan?
I think for me personally, it'd probably be the Watford game. It was only because I took my little girl up and she enjoyed herself and again saw us win for a change.
Yeah. Aaron?
Sheffield Wednesday at home. I mean, Malumbi winning at 97th minute. That was great. I mean, we conceded an equaliser in the 91st, 92nd. So you thought, the game's over, he's done with. And then to come back and win, so late on, it was pantomime. It was amazing.
Well, and Dean?
Same as Ben, Portsmouth, I think. Yeah, false hopes. But this is it now. We'll cruise maybe automatic at that stage.
All right, so you have had happy memories this season. We can end on a bit of a smile.
Very few of them.
Is that worst? Right. Isn't giving our worst points total in the first division ever this season? I think it was on some sort of record. I think, yeah.
Can't be. Right, Dean, come on. We need your book on that.
Maybe not ever, but
depends what you call the first division. Don't you mean since the Premier League was formed?
Yeah, I think I read somewhere since it was kind of
since
tier 2.
2004, the Championship was soared. Right, okay, Dean, get on that.
I've been in the 3rd tier for a couple of seasons.
I think it's definitely be our lowest since 2004.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What a cheery end to the.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Thanks,
Sorry about
Ben. We were on and up, and then you've knocked us
We'll
down.
win 3-0 on Saturday. Next one.
There you go. Right, relegate Luton. Right.
Yeah.
Cheers for that. Okay.
To be fair, it's actually nice to be relegating teams instead of us getting relegated.
Not a Grim Reaper.
Well, yeah. Well, a West Brom goal at any point in that first half is going to send Pride Park and the Preston fans delirious. So yeah, do it for them.
Don't bank on it.
Right, cheers, fellas. Have a good one. We'll see you for one more next week, where we look back on the whole season, and we also look back on what we predicted on our first ever video. Yes, we'll go back and see how wrong or right we were. Cheers. Join us for that.